The Ukraine war gets closer to Moscow. Explosions hit 2 Russian military airfields. Mongolians storm government palace over coal. Free preschool childcare for all would boost UK growth. World's oldest tortoise prepares for 190th birthday party. Cuba lets female boxers compete. AI chatbot stuns audience around the world. Mexico pledges to complete huge elevated train in 1 year.
Hello, I'm Jolie. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It is Wednesday, December 7th, and here are your top stories. The New York Times reported that drones struck an oil facility near the Kursk airfield in Russia on Tuesday, just a day after Ukraine used drones to hit 2 military bases deep inside the country. The media said Ukraine's attacks far aside Russia's border have altered the geography of the war, showing holes in Moscow's air defense. According to Ukrainian intelligence reports, the Kursk airfield is not thought to be as strategically significant. However, since Russia's full-scale invasion in February, Kursk has been a base for fighter jets.
The media said Ukraine has not explicitly claimed responsibility for the attacks on either day, and Russian officials did not directly accuse Ukraine in Tuesday's attack. But the back-to-back drone strikes over 2 days were widely seen as another sign of Kiev's willingness to bring the war closer to Moscow. Monday's attack struck 2 military installations, the Engels airfield and the Dyagologov military base. Dyagologov lies about 100 miles from Moscow.
According to footage published on Russian and Ukrainian social media, 2 Russian military airfields, at least one of which Moscow uses for airstrikes on Ukraine, were reportedly hit by explosions Monday morning. A drone apparently hit the Engels 2 airbase in the Saratov region. Russian state news agency TASS reported another blast hit Dyagolevo military base outside the city of Ryazan. The explosion occurred in the parking area at the airfield. 3 people were killed and 5 were injured.
According to footage from a street camera, an explosion took place in the Engels 2 airbase at around 6:03 a.m. local time. An advisor to the Ukrainian Interior Ministry, Anton Geraschenko, said a drone damaged 2 Tu-95 aircraft, strategic bombers. 2 servicemen were wounded. They were hospitalized. According to reports from Russian state media, which cited emergency services, people were killed by a fuel tanker explosion at the airfield. The Saratov region is more than 600 kilometers to the east of Ukraine.
As word of a scandal in which officials are said to have embezzled state coal export profits of $12.8 billion, hundreds of Mongolian youth braved winter temperature of around -25°C on December 5th and assembled for an Ulaanbaatar demonstration that saw an attempt to storm the government palace. Protesters broke windows and tore down perimeter fences in the process and demanded accountability from the government on the issue at a time when any type of profit could help the country negotiate economic hardships.
Protesters outlined their demand by saying, "We demand that members of parliament and officials involved in the coal theft case be suspended, be held ethically accountable, be fined for the monetary damage caused, and be held legally accountable. If this requirement is not fulfilled, measures must be taken up to the dissolution of the parliament." Local news provider Igor reported that all protesters left Sukhbadar Square by 11 p.m. local time, after the police forcefully intervened.
A joint report endorsed by the UK Labour Party revealed that free universal preschool childcare and more funding for after-school clubs could increase government revenues and save a family with young children between £620 and £6,175 a year. Charity group Save the Children said if made a reality, a universal childcare guarantee would be life-changing for families, creating an easy-to-use childcare payment system for all, cutting childcare costs and providing free breakfast and after-school clubs when children are older.
The report set out steps that will eventually boost economic growth. starting with increasing funding for free hours of childcare and extending an offer of 30 hours to all 3- and 4-year-olds, also extending 15 free hours to all 2-year-olds, with eligibility beginning from the end of paid parental leave. The report recommended extending wraparound care from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. to more schools and offering a variety of after-school activities through term time.
It starts with one thing. In the end, it doesn't even matter. Better world, better world. Welcome to Gilgil, California. Miracles, but miracle has happened tonight. Pray I'll be missing you. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying, and I can't wait for the leaving, make a better place.
The oldest known living land animal, a Seychelles giant tortoise given to Saint Helena in 1882 named Jonathan, is about to celebrate his 190th birthday with a 3-day bash. The 3-day party will bring together residents from across the island, which will start at the governor's house on Friday. Highlights will include a tortoise-friendly birthday cake and an animated video about his life. Those who attend the celebrations will receive a special certificate and be able to buy Jonathan-related stamps.
Rely on is the documentation. Basically, a governor of 1890-old wrote a letter saying that he was landed in 1882 fully grown.
Living on St. Helena since 1882, when he arrived as a gift to the governor of the small South Atlantic island, he is no stranger to fame, having scooped awards from the Guinness World Records for being the oldest known living land animal and the oldest colonial ever recorded. Colonial is an order comprising tortoises, turtles, and terrapins. Unfortunately, Jonathan did not meet St. Helena's most notorious resident. Instead, it's the French General Napoleon Bonaparte, who arrived on the island in 1815 and died there 6 years later.
Cuban officials announced on Monday that female boxers would be able to compete officially after decades of restrictions. However, officials didn't yet confirm if women would be able to compete at a professional level, which Cuban male boxers could do as of earlier this year. On Monday morning, officials with Cuba's National Institute for Sports, INDER, announced in a press conference that they would hold a competition of 42 women boxers in mid-December to choose 12 athletes for a women's team.
But now a group of up-and-coming female boxers are hoping to follow in their footsteps.
They said that the team will compete in the Central American and Caribbean game in El Salvador. The competition will be a first step towards the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris. Cuba is known worldwide for boxing, home to many legendary male boxers and owners of dozens of Olympic medals in the sport. But the island has also sparked controversy by not allowing women to compete, despite permitting them to do so in other contact sports like taekwondo and wrestling.
A new chatbot created by artificial intelligence nonprofit OpenAI Inc. has taken the internet by storm as users speculated on its ability to replace everything from playwrights to college essays. Users took to Twitter to share their surprise at the detailed answers the so-called ChatGPT provided, from historical arguments to poems on cryptocurrency. California San Francisco-based OpenAI has made headlines over its GPT-3 software, which Elon Musk tweeted last Thursday as saying AI is getting really good.
It came out a year after GPT-2, which came out a year after the original GPT paper was published.
OpenAI was co-founded by Tesla CEO Elon Musk and Altman with other investors about 7 years ago to develop AI technologies that benefit all of humanity. Musk left the company in 2018 after disagreements over its direction. While most people were delighted with the bot's musings, some were quick to point out flaws, such as the model giving a detailed but incorrect answer to a question on algebra, and its ability to override limits on output related to issues like war, crime, and racism.
Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador said on Monday that the Maya Train Tours project will now include a 72-kilometer stretch of elevated trackway through the jungle. Previously, engineers worried that the fragile cave-ridden limestone soil would collapse under the weight of the high-speed train. The president now says 2/3 of the line won't touch the ground. Instead, it will be elevated on thousands of 25-meter pilings sunk into the stony soil, supporting prefabricated elevated sections 2.5 meters above the ground.
Mexico is building a massive new railway across the peninsula called Tren Maya. Over 1,500 kilometers of track will run through the...
The president said this will have a minimal effect because where they sink the pillars is where there isn't anything. The 1,500-kilometer Maya train line is meant to run in a rough loop around the Yucatan Peninsula, connecting beach resorts and archaeological sites. Some of the oldest human remains in North America have been discovered in the sinkhole caves known as cenotes on the country's Caribbean coast, which were often dry and frequented by humans as long as 13,000 years ago.
FUNDAY News will help you sharpen your English skills and keep you informed about international current events. If you want to know more about our other programs and keep learning about the world's most important topics in English, please click the link in the description below to join FUNDAY for free. I'm Jolie, your host. I'll see you next time.